Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And I'm very pleased to have with us again Christian Stredicke of Vodia. Christian, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So the big news just 4 weeks ago is that Vodia and Microsoft are coming together, that the Vodia PBX is now certified for Microsoft Teams. That's the big headline.
Yeah, I think it's a big milestone for us. I think we were doing some kind of work with Teams before, but now that we are officially part of the ecosystem, I think we can reach more customers and make more things possible. And I believe that's a big thing for us. Yeah.
So let's back up just a second now that we've gotten past the big headline. First, for people that still may not know, what is Vodia?
So we're making telephone systems. We're making software for the cloud or on-premise. You can host it yourself or host it for others. Telephone systems, yeah.
And it's a very versatile phone system, right? In other words, it does many things that, since we're talking about Teams on its own will not be able to do if you just are trying to use it as PBX.
Right. So we're doing this for 20 years now. So for a long, long time. And we picked up a lot of devices, SIP trunks, services, soft phones, and so on. And we just add. So we have like all these many devices and features. And I think that's making it so interesting because we can bring that now into the Teams ecosystem.
So in literally the last, I'd say maybe 36 or 48 months, there's been, in a sense, a revolution in telecommunications. And, you know, you were just talking about how Teams has gone from being an also run to being very dominant.
I mean, we saw, what was it called? OCS, LCS, right? And then Skype for Business, and then finally Teams. Actually, I have to say the names got better, right? So we've seen the long history. And I know that Microsoft's a big company, but they clearly have a direction and a vision. So, and I know in the beginning things are tough, but we definitely see that Microsoft is very successful in the space, and that's why I think it's so important to work with it and to actually provide something to the ecosystem, right?
Right.
I think we can reach deployments that were not really possible or easy before, right? So I think we're making new things possible, and anyway, so that long history on the Microsoft side, right? That's a good thing. And I think also on our side, we also have a long history, and I think we can bring these two things together now.
So let's get this very clear that, what I'm learning here is that, first of all, Microsoft Teams is a dominant player, but it's admittedly, Microsoft itself would probably say this, it's not presenting itself as a comprehensive solution, that a lot of experiences you need something more.
Yeah, I'm probably would have to ask Microsoft for a statement, but it's just very difficult because the telecom world is so scattered with so many different devices. They have to be waterproof, and then you have door phones, and you have overhead paging, and so many things. If you think about it, right, it's a huge ecosystem, and even big companies like Microsoft are just having a very difficult time to address all these needs. And that is maybe something specific for the telecom world, that they're just, it's not only the last 20 years, if you think about it, it's essentially, we're talking 100 years, more than 100 years, where so many things were invented and made, and people got so much used to it. And it's just very, very difficult, even for a very large player, to address everything. So that's why this kind of interoperability that we're talking about from day one, when the SIP standard was essentially came out. So this is coming as a play. And by the way, Microsoft also uses SIP, right? They're using that interoperability standard. This is a kind of invitation to saying, yes, please bring devices and services into the ecosystem, right? And so that's what we're doing. We all know that the SIP standard is sometimes hard to read, right? And has to be kind of interpreted. And I think that's the special thing about the Microsoft certification, that Microsoft is reading the standard in a specific way. And that is why you cannot just bring any SIP device that you find on Amazon into the Microsoft ecosystem. I think that is what the certification is good for, to have a kind of insurance that this will actually work.
So that's the building block. First of all, a lab has independently said this will work. It will work seamlessly. Here comes Vodia. You have the Vodia SBC. You have Teams. And together, you are saying that this actually is much more, right? It's not just that it works, but now it enables me to do a lot of things.
Right. So the test consists of I think 180 tests or something. So all sorts of things, call in, call out, and so on, right? But it's not the QA. It's really specifically what Microsoft essentially did a little bit different than maybe the RFC is saying. For example, Microsoft has a heavy focus on conference calls, right? Because that is what most people are doing with Teams today. So, and then when everybody is muted, you want to make sure that we're not bombarding all the time useless empty media streams, right? So these are actually have nothing to do with the RFC. It's just really some optimization for the Teams ecosystem. And so that is essentially what the test is about, and make sure that it works really well with Microsoft. They're not testing if we work well with some overhead paging system. That's not their problem, right? That's our problem. So this is what we make sure, that if you're buying some device that you want to use for this and that it works with the Vodia. But then on the other side, the Teams interoperability makes sure that it works with the Teams.
Now, I understand that you were saying before things like hospitality, there's additional things you can do.
Right. So if you think about a hotel, they have the front desk and have staff, have maybe a back office, right? And Teams works quite well there, right? I mean, if let's say you're working in the administration, you would love to use Teams, right? But how do you call the room? So, I mean, in theory, you could put a Teams certified desktop phone into the room, and maybe some hotels are doing it, but I think this is not the mainstream. So I think that's a case where it makes a lot of sense to use the Vodia PBX, where we essentially take care about a good hotel phone, right? We support VoIP phones for hotel rooms, but we also support analog gateways. So we have a broad choice of what they can do in the room. And then we can connect that to the front desk, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense for many, many hotels. And you don't need to have several components to make it happen. So now we need only one component, and it makes it easier. There's less equipment that can fail, right? Failure is always an important thing. Less maintenance, less work for installation. So we just simplify the whole setup. And I think that is really the news. That was not possible before, but it is possible now.
And you have other campus settings, for example, like education.
Right. So if you look at the hotels, have a lot in common with schools, in the way that there are rooms, right? They're for teaching, and the others, well, you sleep there. And there are other areas, for example, you think about nursing homes, have also a lot in common with hotels, right? Even hospitals, if you think about it, have a lot in common with hotels. Is areas maybe like cruise ships, right? So maybe they want to use it. That's maybe a little bit the question, because it's like they can be really completely offline. But I think there are a lot of areas that have a lot of similarities with this hospitality area. And I think that is where it really makes a lot of sense. There may be other areas, let's say you have one door phone. You can also use it for there, right? But I think many companies, let's say if you think about a manufacturing company, they maybe have a couple of phones somewhere next to the machines. So why would you put a Teams phone there? You can just put some cheap VoIP phone there, or even have analog lines already in the wall that they want to use, right? And these things can be addressed. And that is, I think, where I see our product being used in the real world. Yeah.
Well, Christian, I really want to thank you for joining me today and giving us a big overview of basically this very significant announcement. If people want to read more, it's actually up on our website. We posted it just 4 weeks ago. It's still pretty hot news. We'll provide a link wherever we're posting this podcast. And Christian, with that, where can we learn more about Vodia?
Go to vodia.com. We actually have a special section for Teams. We also have some information what device we support and what SIP trunks we support. So you get an idea how big our supported ecosystem is, and it may be fit for you.
Well, Christian, again, thank you very much indeed. Big headline, everybody. Vodia, certified for Microsoft Teams. Check it out. It's a really good idea. And Christian, thank you for joining me again. Looking forward to our next podcast where I guess we'll probably be talking more about this matter.
Yeah, thanks for having me.